Hi, welcome back to the channel. Well, today I'd like to list a few real-world cars that I wish were in GTA, either in the closing days of GTA 5 or perhaps even better in GTA 6. Now, I'll warn you right now, I'm not going to include the MX-5 or the Miata. It seems to appear in everybody's list and I think we're bored of that. And so for the same reason, I'm not going to mention the missing generation of Corvettes either. We've got a mix here of historic cars, concept cars, real cars, and they're in no particular order. But let's kick off with the Jaguar E-Type. I think the adjective glorious is used so many times for this car. It's absolutely beautiful. That long flowing bonnet, the lines of the car and everything is a classic in every single way. The photo I've chosen to use here is of Andy Prio racing the car in a classic race. Andy, of course, being a touring car driver normally. I think these cars, if we had them in game, would have to be buildable as historic race cars. That would be an absolute must. But of course, they would also have to be buildable as the road car. And the icing on the cake would be if we could have it as the coupe and the convertible. I can see it being perhaps two separate cars, perhaps a mod within one car. I really want a Jaguar E-Type. Hey, from the sublime to the ridiculous, but I really want one. The Rezvani Vengeance. Now, Rezvani are the people who make the Tank, which is that tall Canis off-roader car in the game. This is another one of their armoured vehicles, and let's face it, it looks more GTA than you'd expect some GTA vehicles to look. I just think this one would be wonderful in the game as a sort of Night Shark replacement, maybe, or shall we say an alternative. It would be fully armoured up. It would hopefully not have a stupid mattress glued to the doors to show us that fact. And whilst I love both my Night Sharks, I think I would shelve them in an instant if I could replace them with this. For number 3, we'll look at an off-roader. I mean, what is the archetypal off-roader? I don't think only if you're British either. It is, of course, one of the old Land Rovers, either a series Land Rover 1, 2 or 3, or the Defender that followed on. But let's not just stick with the classic Defender, let's move it on and have one made by Bowler. Bowler take the already capable Defender as a starting point and work from there. You can have an extreme car like the green one I've been showing, and that is just simply the Defender on steroids. But then you can have the Wildcat. That is the Defender on steroids that's been to the gym a lot. I think one of these would be fantastic. I would want to keep the bulk of the looks. I wouldn't want something that fundamentally destroys the recognisable parts. But yeah, I would love one of these, and I can think of many off-roaders in the game I would just take back and get rid of if I could have this. Onto supercars, and I would really like some more accurate Ferraris. I'm afraid we've got a lot of the older ones that don't look so good, and then we've got some nice ones. I'd really love a 360 like this 360 Modena shown below. I just think there is a purity of the shape on that car that to me really defines a modern Ferrari versus a classic one. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. If we could have a not too messed around version of this, I would be really, really chuffed. Next, we'll put my selfish car. I had loads of cars in my youth. A lot of them were a bit crappy, so of course they died and had to be replaced. But there's two cars that I'll never really forget, which were a Mark II and a Mark III Capri, both the 3.0S, so it might sound a bit small to Americans. It's a pretty big engine. If you're in the UK, it's the 3-litre V6 Essex engine with not a lot of power, but an awful lot of torque. This was our muscle car, sitting low towards the back of the car, coupe shape, great big bonnet or hood out in front of you. It went quite quickly. It went round corners okay, and it didn't really have any brakes, let's be honest with you, they weren't very good. But it was great fun, and I think now a really classic shape, and I understand that my old Mark II was restored and is now on the classic car circuit. I've seen a picture of it looking quite different. My Mark III certainly died. But I love these. I love a lot of these classic Fords. We've got many of the Escorts and things in the game already. Come on, give us a Capri. Please give us a Capri. Whilst we're on older cars, it's another Jag, I'm afraid. I know we have quite a few Jags in the game, but I'd love the Mark II, the classic saloon. I don't know how many historic touring car races I've seen these in. So, like the E-Type, it would have to come with the ability to add a roll cage and at least some basic liveries, not wild liveries, just numbers and things. Of course, these were the beloved car of both business tycoons and the people who robbed the business tycoons. I'd want to be able to make some very shiny road cars as well. Just an overall lovely, lovely car. Please, please put it in one of the GTAs, please. There's a lot of concept cars in GTA 5 and a lot of them are very good, just like the one I used in the intro. And here is another one, but I can't tell you how much I want. It's the 3.0 CSL Hommage. So in other words, an homage to the original BMW 3-litre CSL, and specifically the Batmobile as it was called, not officially, which was the racing one with the strakes on the fenders and both the roof and a tail spoiler. So you can see they've replicated all that, but they've pumped it up to 11 and it looks so much like a GTA car. I mean, this is what people like to do with their cars anyway. We really need one in the game. Now, I know we have the SC one, which was the M1 homage, and that was great to have, although it's slightly off on the looks. But look at this one and tell me that you don't want one of these in the game, because you do. I said before, I think the headlights are the eyes of the car, and on the Miura they are extremely distinctive, and of course the Miura is one of the most beautiful cars in the world, maybe the most beautiful according to many polls. It's why I don't own a Monroe in game, because by ruining the headlights along with other details, I just don't see a Miura in it at all. So the ship has sailed on the Miura unless they do something special in GTA 6, but there's something we can have, which is this, the Miura Concept, I think from 2006. It's the same as so many of these other concept cars we see, where the manufacturer has taken an old icon and reimagined it as a modern car, and it looks fantastic. I'd love us to have one of these in the game. It would be the chance for Rockstar to undo the Monroe by adding next to it a much more accurate concept car. I'd buy it, and you'd buy it, and we'd all buy it. And from the sleek and wonderful looks of a classic Lamborghini to a funny, square, dumpy old British thing, this would be another rally car for the game that I'd like to see. It would go very well next to the old Quattro that we already have. This is of course the Metro 6R4. Metro being a little tiny square box that followed on really from the Mini as a little tiny family sort of shopping hatchback. But then for the rally car, they said sod that, and they put a 3-litre 6-cylinder engine slap bang in the middle, and it was very effective. I really want one of these. I think it would be a really good addition to an off-road class. Just before I get on to the last car and the bonus cars, if you've enjoyed this, please do hit the like button. It would be really appreciated. And of course, if you like the builds of real cars in GTA, well, hit the sub button as well. In the previous 9 cars, we've had examples of beauty, we've had examples of off-road or rally cars, and we've certainly had, unapologetically, quite a few classic cars. But our 10th car combines all these attributes. Conceived in 1980, the Lancia 037 was a rally car, and it had a bit of a rocky start, but by 1983 it took the Constructors' Championships with Walter Rall, pictured here with the car, Marco Allen. I think it is one of the most glorious shapes anyway, but in rallying, probably the prettiest rally car I've ever seen, and I really want it in the game. As I sit here recording, I have two big speakers each side of my monitor. On one is a die-cast Porsche 911 GT3 RS, and you've guessed it, haven't you? On the other, a die-cast Lancia 037. Well, there are two honourable mentions that I have that I'd love to see. We don't have an awful lot of Volvos in the game, just two, I think. I'd love the classic 850, and it would have to come in estate, that means station wagon form. A number of reasons. Firstly, people still use these now as big, safe, reliable estate cars. But the other reason is I remember so clearly Rickard Rydell ploughing around Silverstone and Thruxton, etc. in the British Touring Car Championship with this estate. I think it was a fantastic marketing move by Volvo to say, okay, I know it's really a saloon car championship, that's what it used to be called, but it doesn't have to be a saloon. Let's stick in a great big out of place looking estate and let's win races. And they did, and I want it, and I want the livery. As a young kid in the 70s and 80s, yes, I am that old, I used to see obviously various cartoons and things like Wacky Racers. You'd see strange cars, and some of them looked a bit like this, which is the Ferrari Modulo concept from 1970. Now, this car is not a looker, but to me, this is what the Toreador should partly have been, because this car looks like it should go underwater. So I think in GTA 6, if we have a car that can go underwater and we want to model it on a real car, why not use this one? I mean, it is a bit ugly, and that's why it's only in honourable mentions, not in the main thrust. But I do think this is far better than having a Lamborghini Marzal, which doesn't look like it should go underwater at all, being used as an underwater car, which does seem a little bit daft. Mind you, so does the Rocket Boost, but there we go. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this list of cars that I would like in this or the next GTA. Can you let me know down below? What car do you think has truly been missed out? And what would you love to see? Take care, and thank you so much for watching.